Hello! Today we're going to take a look at those famous word problems about throwing balls and do they clear the wall, and we're going to use parametric equations to measure height versus time and horizontal distance. Okay, let's go. So before we get to throwing a ball forward at an angle, let's start with the slightly simpler concept of just throwing it straight up in the air and using parametrics to describe what happens. So if we're throwing it straight up in the air and then it's coming straight back down again, then in terms of its horizontal component, that is simply time. We're not moving left or right. So our x equation is just going to be x equals t. But our y equation for describing how high it is off the ground at any given point t, well, we know that distance is rate times time. So we would say 60t, 60 feet per second times t seconds. And we know that we started 10 feet off the ground. And here's the kicker. We're not operating in a vacuum. This isn't a laser. This is an actual ball. So we need to account for gravity. When we are in feet or yards, when we're not in metrics, the gravity component is incorporated by writing minus 16t squared and including that in your vertical component, in your y component. So let's take a look now using our graphing calculator. So for our x, we're just going to say t. For our y, we're going to type in that 60t plus that initial 10 feet minus the gravity component, 16t squared. Now, my window is probably going to make this wonky, but let's start with graphing. Yeah, and we can't see anything, so we need to adjust our window. Okay, so going from 0 seconds to 10 seconds, 0.5 seconds per, let's make that a little smaller. I suspect this happens a little more quickly. So let's say 5 seconds, and let's say we're going to go by 0.1 each. Okay, our x, well, this is still t, so we can make that the same as we did for t. And our scale, therefore, wants to be the same. Now, our y minimum is 0, our y maximum is 50. Well, we're moving up at 60 feet per second, so we may want to make that y maximum a little larger. Let's start by making it 200, and let's see what happens if that is our window now. There we go, now we can see it. Okay, now, let's say we want to make this exactly fill our window. So we could do a trace and see that as we move our x along, we hit the top. It looks like a little more than 66, so we could make our y maximums like 67. And then as we keep watching our x, this whole thing seems to happen in about 4 seconds. So let's go back to our window. We'll make our time 4, and that means our x is also 4, and we said we were going to make this y 67. This should just about fill the screen now. Let's see. There you go. Okay, so that is our motion. Now, this isn't what the ball actually looks like, right? This is a graph of how the height of the ball looks compared to time, right? Our x-axis is time passing. Our y-axis is how high. Now, this isn't what the ball looks like. If we want to see what the ball looks like, let's go back into our y equals. Instead of making our x-axis travel along with time, let's just give it a constant. So let's call it 2. Now, if I go and I hover on this slash in front of my x, and I press enter until I get this thing, to me this looks like a little key or something, but a line with a little circle. Okay, what that's gonna do is rather than just graph it, it's gonna actually show me the motion. So watch what happens now. Goes up and it goes down. So that's what our motion actually looks like. And did you notice it started at 10 feet off the ground, went up, but then traveled all the way back to the ground. Okay, so now let's take a look at that famous problem. If you throw a ball at this angle and that speed, will it clear a wall that's thus far away? So today we have, if Jane throws a ball from 4 feet off the ground with an initial speed of 120 feet per second at an angle of 16 degrees with the horizon, will it clear a 40-foot wall that is 600 feet away? Okay, always and ever, let's start with a picture. We have our 40-foot wall. We have our 600 feet away. We have our 4 feet off the ground. And we have our 16 degrees of angle from the horizon. And that's traveling at a speed of 120 feet per second. Okay, so we have a couple of different things to sort of figure out how to describe. So first of all, I said we're going to work with parametrics, which means we can have one equation to describe the horizontal distance and one equation to describe the vertical distance. And our variable between these two is going to be time, t, seconds. So let's start with horizon. So if we take this motion and put it over here as a little triangle, we know that our x component of the motion, right, is adjacent to this angle. And because of what we know of triangle trigonometry, we know that the cosine of this angle is described as adjacent over hypotenuse. And so if we want just x, we multiply that 120 around, 120 cosine 16 degrees. That gives us the horizontal component of our speed. But we don't want speed, we want distance, right? We know rate times time equals distance. So this will give us the x distance traveled at time t. Now, punching it into your calculator in this way could leave you vulnerable to having cosine of 16 degrees times t, which we do not want. So I am always going to choose to write this by putting the t in here. So our horizontal distance traveled at any time t is 120t times the cosine of 16. Now, is there anything else I need to consider there? No, we weren't given any other adjustments to the horizontal motion. When I go to create my vertical motion, you can see that I'll use the same logic, but with my y, so that'll be opposite, which means sine, 120t times the sine of 16 degrees. But now I have some other things I need to think about. First of all, I'm throwing it from 4 feet off the ground. So in addition to the distance I've traveled, I always want to add in the 4 vertical feet that are my starting point. Now here's the other thing with the vertical. Gravity affects this ball. Gravity doesn't affect the horizontal motion, but it does affect the vertical motion because it's pulling on the ball. So, since we are in feet in this problem, the way you always incorporate gravity into your vertical when your problem is in feet, not in metrics, is minus 16t squared. So just get used to that. That's the gravity component when your problem is in feet or yards or things like that. Okay, so now I have my 2 equations that I can type into my calculator. 120t times the cosine of 16 degrees. I'm going to check. I'm in radians, so I'm going to go get in degrees. Now I'm going back here and I'll punch in my y. 120 times t times the sine of 16 degrees, and then I'm going to add those 4 feet and I'm going to subtract my 16t squared. All right, now if I just graph this with whatever window I was in before, I may or may not see anything useful, but I'm going to start. Yeah, no, that's a hot mess. So I'm going to go now to my window. Okay, and I'm going to think a little bit about this problem. So first of all, I know that I've got 600 feet of distance between this and my 40-foot wall. And I know I'm looking to see if I travel 40 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll leave my t as 0 to 10 seconds. We'll check that out later. I'm gonna maybe change my t-step to a half a second. My x minimum, I start at 0. My x maximum, I wanna go up to that 600 feet, maybe a little farther. Maybe I'll say 650 to see what's happening. And maybe my scalar is gonna be more like tens. My y, again, I'm gonna start on the ground and I'll go up to a little bit above 40 feet, so maybe 50 feet. And now I'll try that again. Haha. Okay, so there is essentially the path of my ball. So now, if I would like to see how I intersect my wall, I'm going to go back to my grapher, and in my x2, y2, I'm going to enter those dimensions. So 600 feet horizontally and 40 feet vertically. Those are constants, so that should just give me a point. And now I'm going to graph again. And that right there is my point, and I can see I get nowhere close to clearing that wall. Now let's say instead the problem had asked, will it clear a wall that's 200 feet away and 10 feet tall? So I'll go in here and I'll change my x2 to being 200 feet and my y2 to being 10 feet. And now I'll graph again. And there's my wall, and it looks like I clear it. There's my wall, and there's my ball jumping over the wall. Okay, so that is your introduction to the classic does the ball clear the wall problem and how to solve it using parametrics. Leave any questions in the comments. Consider subscribing to my channel so you can see when I put out a new video. And as always, keep on mathing.